Before Kamala Harris, this is from The Intercept, and Linus shares this with us over on the Reddit subsection, which, by the way, that's just reddit.com/r/GetYourNewsOnWithRon. If you want, drop an article in our Reddit subsection. I check it out each morning, and then I pull some articles from it for the show. This is one of the ones I pulled. This is from Linus. Before Kamala Harris soured on Bernie Sanders' Medicare for All bill, she grew her email list from it. So a quick refresher, Kamala Harris said she was for Medicare for All. When she initially announced it, she sounded like she was in a church pew giving a confession. She was like, I'm for Medicare for All. I just think in the richest country in the world, people shouldn't go bankrupt because of healthcare bills. I just think medical bills shouldn't cause bankruptcies. I'll still giggle while throwing people in jail, and I love prison labor, but I feel this way. I'm sincere. You can trust me on healthcare. And of course, she backpedaled multiple times. At the debates, she raised her hand high when they said, would you abolish private insurance? She raised her hand high. It was a misleading, misdirected question, but she raised her hand high anyway, said later that was a misinterpretation, and she's not for Medicare for All anymore. She is against Medicare for All, to the surprise of nobody. But here's one of the things she did before she was against it. Here's something. So Kamala Harris soured on Bernie Sanders' Medicare for All bill. She grew her email list from it. Before distancing herself from Senator Bernie Sanders' Medicare for All campaign, Kamala Harris repeatedly boasted her support for the legislation in Facebook ads in an effort to grow her list of supporters. Earlier this month, Harris backed away from Medicare for All during a private event in the Hamptons, telling a crowd of large dollar donors that she had not been comfortable with Bernie's plan. By large dollar donors, that of course refers to people with a lot of money in big pharma. That's what that's code for. People with money in big pharma. So why did Kamala Harris do this? Well, it's really simple. The people want Medicare for All. About 70% of Americans want Medicare for All. They're for it. Who's not for it? The donor class, big pharma, the people who buy off the politicians. So politicians like Kamala Harris, they're going to say they're for it. They're going to hope you remember that part. Then they're going to back away from it. And they're going to back away from it in front of the donors and their rich friends. As Hillary Clinton said, they got a public position and a private one. That's what she said about herself, and she was proud of it. Don't worry, donors. Don't worry, Wall Street. I have a public position and a private one. Well, they're following Hillary's lead. They got a public position and a private one. Kamala Harris has a public position and a private one. And it's not going to work, first of all. People are seeing through it. Also, we have the internet now, by the way. You realize we have the internet. We can go back. We can find stuff. People can get receipts real quick for their claims. So she's not comfortable with it now. Well, that means she's not for it. So people are going to know, it's going to be on the record that she's not for it. But in the meanwhile, she can spam a bunch of people. She can spam a bunch of people with her emails for her campaign. So, and I just don't understand. You know how backwards the whole argument is. Oh, well, you gotta have someone in the center to beat Trump. We need to have someone who's a moderate so they can appeal to more people and this and that. And, Joe Biden is the only one who can beat Trump because he has a good record reaching out across the aisle to Republicans. Okay, guess what? Half of this country does not vote. Half this country does not vote. You know why people don't vote? Why most people don't vote? Most people don't vote because they don't feel like there's an option on the ballot. So how does it make any sense whatsoever to make sure the candidates are as close together as possible when half the country doesn't vote because they don't really feel like there's an option on that ballot? Oh, half the country doesn't feel like there's an option on the ballot? Well, let's make two candidates as close together as possible. Donald Trump and Joe Biden are nearly the same candidate. Joe Biden talks nicer. That's the difference. Policy-wise, they're pretty much the same. Both against Medicare for All. Both against living wages. Both against doing anything about climate change. Both for fracking. Both against free college. Both against doing anything about Wall Street. Both against doing anything about the big banks. Both for war. And on immigration, they're basically the same. Joe Biden will just talk nicer when the cameras are on. When the cameras are on, Joe Biden will talk nicer. So yeah, let's just have two candidates that are exactly, because half the country doesn't vote because they don't feel like there's an option on the ballot. So we need someone who's most like Trump to beat him. That makes sense. That makes sense nowhere. It makes zero sense. Those are lies the establishment fed you. That's what that is.
Get your news on with Ron. Don't you want to know what's going on? We're getting our news on today. Get your news on with Ron. Don't you want to know what's going on? We're getting our news on today. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You can tweet me an article at Ron Placone. We'll go through it together and make it our own. Get your